What's up, guys? This is Brian from the Boopinion, and today I'm joined with my friend Kurt.
What's going on, guys? Jigsaw Flex here.
And we are going to talk about the newest trailer for Paper Mario the Origami King and why we think it is much more than just Color Splash 2.0, basically because of the gameplay, characters, and everything else. So the thing that people are the most worried about and curious about is the battle system. Kurt, what was your initial reaction from the footage you saw on Friday for the battle system?
Yeah, so the battle system was actually a lot cooler than I expected. I didn't even know there's this thing where you can actually slide, like those little panels in that ring, which is a pretty cool addition. It definitely like adds into like the strategic aspect. But what I'm really glad to see is it's definitely confirmed that some partners will be part of the battle, but I'm actually still not sure if they're going to be controllable at all because, you know, we've only seen the Bob-omb actually hit an enemy, but we don't see any like action commands regarding him. So it's still a good addition that they have that.
Yeah, I agree. It kind of reminded me of Paper Mario 64 as well, where the partners didn't have any HP. So it could kind of be like a callback to that game.
Yeah, and I think what's really cool, based off of what we've seen through some research online, I believe this was through the Japanese or European website, don't remember, but the timer can now be extended with the coins that you collect during, like, I guess, your battles. So it's cool to see that now we actually need to, again, look at the time and be like, oh, crap, there's not enough time to do my move. Let me just spend some money to extend the timer. So I think it's a really cool aspect. We've never seen that be used before, and I believe there was something regarding accessories, right, Brian? There was like a screenshot of like, accessories being used. What was that?
So the accessories is kind of like badges from what we've seen so far. That at least that's what Kirk and I think. But the only accessory that it showed in battle, it was called something to do with guarding. And
yeah, like guard plus or something.
Yeah, and I believe that they are also. It ranges from like bronze up to gold based off of how effective it's going to be. And something I wanted to mention as well for the battles is that we have not seen any XP, which I know is on a lot of people's minds, but it does seem like you get a lot of coins from the battles because from the various screenshots and the videos we've seen, it's showing up to like 18,000 coins. So it seems like it is kind of worthwhile to do the battles because you get a lot of coins, and the coins might be used later on in the game for more important stuff, which we'll also talk about. Basically, what I took away from it is that it's not like Thousand Year Door, which I think people are kind of disappointed about, but I just feel like there's going to be a lot more strategy involved in the battles than maybe any of the other games. I'm really looking forward to that. Moving on to the general gameplay, the first part of that we're going to talk about is the bosses, which I know is another part people are kind of disappointed about because initially we only saw the Legion of Stationery, which refers to the paper bosses such as the colored pencils or the tape. And honestly, I was pretty disappointed about that because I thought that was the only bosses there were going to be in the game. But the more we researched it and found other sources such as the Japanese version of Nintendo, we saw that there's other kinds of bosses such as a blooper and a phoenix. What were your thoughts about the bosses, Kurt?
Yeah, like I felt the same way. I was like, oh my gosh, not other like office supplies type of garbage, but like it was pretty good. Like the colored pencils thing, I know in the future people are just not gonna like randomly bring it up like 10 years from now, be like, oh my gosh, remember the colored pencils boss? But like I think it's still a good addition. It's creative because colored pencils have a personality. At the same time, it's kind of like, damn, I wish it was like another Tubba Blubba or something, you know?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And also, I thought like going into it, I knew they were gonna do the paper theme in some aspects, and putting it as the bosses is like the least. I would honestly be more upset if it was more involved with the battle and like the cards. But if you're going to have it as bosses, I don't really care so much about that as long as there are other bosses. And we've already seen that there are other bosses.
I think we should talk about the toads themselves. They have like a huge role, right?
Yeah, so it's not mandatory like it has been in other games such as Color Splash to find all the toads. But it does become pretty helpful later on in the game from what it seems because they will help you in the battle, like we said before, and then they're also going to go back to Toad Town, which is an area in the game, and set up shops. which you can get items from.
With those shops, we can like buy accessories and like upgrade probably items. Again, when we talked about coins are huge now because like you could like buy a lot of stuff probably from these toads. And wasn't there something about how you could pay the toads to help them in battle?
Oh yeah, there's various toad tips on the UK version of the Nintendo website, and one of them was if you're kind of in a bind in a battle and you need help from the audience, you can pay the toads to jump in, and I believe they'll rush the stage, and this probably involves them attacking the enemies or like giving you an item or something.
And then one of the biggest things we were discussing about for like at least 30 minutes is the weaponry. We were discussing to see if it was gonna be like Sticker Star in a way where it just like, you know, a one go thing, kind of a consumable item. But it seems like through like a screenshot we saw of like the menu, the weapons look to be breaking, kind of just like in Breath of the Wild and Animal Crossing. It's just been a trend of just weapons breaking.
Yeah.
Because we saw I think it was like some throwing hammer item. I forgot. It's called a hurl hammer. And the hurl hammer below that one, it was another hurl hammer, but it had like a bandage and it was worn out, and it had like a red like indicator surrounding the square badge, whatever the square thing. And so my assumption is that it's going to break. That's like kind of like my backup to this information, that the fact that it's going to break eventually, it gives you an indication, and that the hammer and jump seem to be the main things, and they're going to be staying permanently.
And while we're at the menu, kind of adding on to that, we're also going to talk about the accessories briefly. So, as I mentioned before, there was a guard accessory. There's also one that'll increase your HP a little bit. We don't know what the other accessories were, but it could be something to do with the battle conditions. And the one thing we did not see from the menu was any ability to edit the partners that you have, like the abilities or anything that they can later add, which was in Thousand Year Door. So I'm not sure how much you're going to be able to control the partners and upgrade them in any sense.
So moving on is the characters, one of my favorite parts of this. So I want to talk about this guy first, Luigi, the man, the myth, the legend himself. Seems to have a bigger role in this game now, thanks to seeing the UK website, or just I think is in the US website? I don't even know. Like there was like this one brief graphic where Luigi just shows up and he says he may be basically aiding around like the game or like during the game, and our assumption is that he might be playable or controllable during like the world intermissions, or kind of just like the chapter intermissions that were in the first two Paper Mario games. So I'm super excited to see that, because we did see in the last part of the trailer Luigi was standing with Mario in this one area.
We're finally possibly getting Super Paper Luigi in a sense.
Yeah.
It's what fans have always wanted, and hopefully you're able to control him, like you said. That'd be a lot of fun. Probably the biggest Easter egg that we came across when we were doing research for this was what you can do with Olivia, the main protagonist of Mario.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't revealed anywhere in the trailer or on the UK or English sites, but digging through some gaming threads such as Reset Era, we were able to see that on some unlisted Japanese Nintendo videos that Olivia has the ability to transform into bosses that you beat in the game. And that's what the blue dragon is, and the one boss fight you see facing against the red phoenix, is we believe that is Olivia. So that's a pretty huge aspect of the game that we don't know that much about, but I was just blown away that it wasn't revealed in the trailer.
Other than those like two major characters, we just have left, I think, the partners, and we finally have a name for the Bob himself. It's Bobby. Yes, Bobby's here. A little brief story behind him. I think he just, what was it? Is he like forgot something? He just has amnesia.
Yeah, he has
something like that.
Some form of amnesia, kind of a play off of Doki Doki Panic.
Thinky
yeah.
Panic. That's like what they said, I think. Exactly. Yeah.
We don't know much about him, but we did see that he is involved in the battles in some form. And I also saw in the Chinese trailer that the Professor Toad is also in the battles. However, it was interesting that the narrator said, quote, some of the partners may be able to be used in the battle, but the narrator didn't say all of the partners can be used in the battle. So that leads me to think that Bowser might be one of the partners you get on your team, but you're not going to be able to actually use him in the battle, at least for most of the game.
Mm-hmm. And we have also like Kamek and Bowser Jr. that are seen a lot in the overworld. We haven't seen any gameplay of them just yet, like in battle, so we're not sure. I mean, we're not ruling them out just yet. I'm hoping at least, I don't know, Bowser Jr. would be really cool to see in battle. Just to see Mario and Bowser Jr. on the same team, physically fighting against the Galoombas or something.
Yeah, I don't think Bowser Jr.'s ever been in a battle with Mario, right? Like, we've played with Bowser before, but not Bowser Jr.
No. So it's going to be a pretty cool addition if they actually include that. Oh, and there's also one other thing that's really cool to mention is that in the sea area or the ocean area, we got to see a little bit of it and how the fact that there's going to be a submarine involved, and we kind of see who's in charge of the submarine thanks to the Japanese website again. And we don't know what to call this because we don't really know how to read Japanese, but we think it's just the legendary Captain Toad for the submarine that just, like, you know, he's there to guide us in that area. So I think it's pretty cool to see him. Even though he's a toad, it seems like he's his own personality because he has his own clothing and stuff, and he's like the owner of this legendary thing. So
yeah, it seems like the Toads got a lot more personality in this game than they have in previous games. Lastly, we're going to talk about the worlds, which also I was a little worried about because initially I thought there was only like 5 worlds for the main stream, such as the red, blue, yellow, purple, and green confetti streams, but it seems like there's a lot more sub-worlds that you explore, maybe between those worlds, or like they build up to the main part of the chapter.
Yeah, like I was super scared that like when the narrator said like 5 streamers or something, I was like, damn, only 5 worlds. But there's like some evidence that we found, again, with the Japanese website, where there's like more areas besides the 5, you know, main ones that they discussed. There was like a sub area where it's like a Deku Mountain. Like they call it the Deku Mountain, but we don't know the exact like English name yet since it's in Japanese translation, which is like a regular kind of like forest area. Obviously we have Toad Town as like this the main square, and then again I said earlier about the Ninja Land, or kind of like they call it the Oedo Land or Oedo Park or something, like a theme park. So whatever it is, I guess it's like some sort of theme park, kind of like a Japanese traditional style town. And that had no like streamer involved, but it still exists because we see a lot of screenshots of that. So it's interesting to see that these sub areas are still going to play out. And I think there was one screenshot showing a pipe. I'm not pipe. There's like multiple pipes. Like, you know, in the other games, there's like fast traveling. There's this one area with pipes and they had numbers in them, you know.
And there was a lot of cool references inserted into the different worlds, such as you just mentioned Deku Mountain. It had a Deku stump, kind of like in Ocarina of Time. For the big open sea world, that one reminds me of Wind Waker a lot, and then the Skull Island also reminds me of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, like that skull area just randomly chilling there. So it just makes it seem like ancient, right?
Yeah. With that being said, we hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see the previous videos, make sure to check out them on Kirk's channel, Jigsaw Flex. And with that being said, this has been Brian from the Boopinion, and
Kirk from Jigsaw Flex, and we're signing out.
Hey guys, thanks for watching my first video. If you liked it, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and if not, hope you have a great day.